Hollywood legal battle heads to a New York City courtroom today with a hearing on the lawsuit between actors Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. The U.S. District Judge in the case is holding a video conference on a motion for a protective order.
No, we're like, oh my God.
Are they score again?
No. Oh my God, I just saw you from alone.
You guys.
Please, more cute.
New footage from Justin Baldoni's camp and a new response from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' side has just heated up this already bitter legal war going on between the stars. Who's telling the truth about what happened on the set of It Ends With Us?
Blake Lively's lawyers are now saying they don't want Brian Friedman to depose her. Girl, you don't get a choice.
The New York Times reportedly cited emails and texts allegedly sent by publicists hired by Justin Baldoni, including a striking line: "We can bury anyone." The Times has defended its reporting, telling CBC News that the story was responsibly researched and based on a review of thousands of pages of original documents. This revelation came on the same day Baldoni filed a lawsuit against the Times. Meanwhile, Blake Lively escalated her legal battle by taking her harassment claim to federal court, adding allegations of emotional and mental distress. The controversy traces back to last summer when some fans criticized Lively's promotion of a film centered on a woman escaping an abusive relationship. The situation intensified during the trial when Baldoni's lawyer personally questioned Lively in court. Witnesses described the cross-examination as brutal, with Lively reportedly struggling to respond to some of the most incriminating questions. Did her testimony reveal something unexpected? Did she inadvertently expose information she wasn't supposed to? This is one courtroom drama you won't want to miss. Grab your popcorn and dive in.
If I was on the Baldoni side, I'd feel pretty good. I'd feel like, wow, we got almost everything we wanted. I mean, yes, we have, a few things that are attorney's eyes only, but we stopped the Lively attorneys from being able to unilaterally designate anything and everything. And we now have some grounds where we can push back on them if they over-designate things, such as designating highly personal information that is relevant.
The Times quoted emails and texts allegedly sent by publicists hired by Baldoni, including the line, "We can bury anyone." The New York Times tells CBC News the story was responsibly reported and based on a review of thousands of pages of original documents. On the same day that Baldoni sued the Times, Lively took her harassment claim to federal court and added accusations of emotional and mental distress. Back in the summer, some fans took offense with how Lively promoted the film about a woman making her way out of an abusive relationship.
So what exactly went down? According to multiple sources, Justin Baldoni filed a lawsuit against Blake Lively, alleging serious accusations including defamation, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. But the real question is, what led to this explosive showdown? This summer, co-stars of the blockbuster Asterisk, It Ends With You's Asterisk appeared separately on the red carpet, clearly at odds. Now they've filed competing lawsuits. Actor and director Justin Baldoni has accused Asterisk, the New York Times Asterisk, of lying in a December story that reported on allegations by Blake Lively. She claimed Baldoni hired a PR firm to damage her reputation, a claim echoed in the sexual harassment complaint she filed against him in California. The legal battle continues to escalate, with both sides digging in their heels.
Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, grilled on Blake Lively in contentious interview. Brian Friedman was taken to task by Puck's Matt Baldoni, who by the end of their podcast, Baldoni, who by the end of their podcast interview had compared the lawyer to Donald Trump. The comparison was just an aside. I really don't think it was a contentious interview whatsoever. But I do think what's interesting is at the end of the interview, they get Brian Friedman to discuss why he's not settling this case and why his client's not. Also, they talk about the rogue PR agent, Steph Jones, who once, was done doing business with Wayfair, may have coordinated with Blake Lively in the New York Times business. They call it shady.
For years, whispers of tension between Justin and Blake have circulated in Hollywood, but no one ever expected it to escalate to this level. Some insiders claim Blake spread false rumors about Justin, aiming to tarnish his reputation in the industry. Others suggest their feud stems from an undisclosed project that went disastrously wrong behind the scenes. While the exact origins of their bad blood remain unclear, one thing is certain: this legal battle has been years in the making.
The complaint, he points out certain text messages that were lifted out of context. For example, there were emojis, there was certain language that was not reported on by the Times.
Fast forward to the courtroom showdown. Picture this: the tension is palpable, the media is in a frenzy, and fans are glued to their screens, eagerly awaiting every update. It's a dramatic scene, with both sides ready to lay it all on the line. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the world is watching.
Blake Lively is presenting it as time for your girlfriends, wear your floral dress to the movie. Sort of a Barbie kind of thing. And then you have Justin Baldoni talking much more seriously about the darker elements of the story. And that just fell in line with people who were looking for that to be called out. I think it's mostly just to try and get some of the public sentiment back onto his side. I do think it will work to an extent.
According to insiders present during the proceedings, things got intense. The judge reportedly had strong words for Blake, calling her alleged actions *unacceptable and unprofessional. The verdict? A massive win for Justin Baldoni, as the court ruled in his favor on all counts. Not only was Blake found liable, but she was also ordered to pay a substantial amount in damages, a sum that could significantly impact her career.
Blake's legal complaint includes a document allegedly from Justin's PR team that lays out strategies on how to protect the director's reputation should the actress and her team, quote, make her grievances public. In one section includes tactics to use if her husband Ryan Reynolds came forward in her defense. In addition to avoiding, quote, direct engagement if this happened, the document also notes that, quote, as part of this, our team can also explore planting stories about the weaponization of feminism and how people in BL's circle like Taylor Swift have been accused of utilizing these tactics to bully into getting what they want. In the same document, Justin's PR crisis management team allegedly proposed that if Blake hinted at her, quote, experience working with him in the press, and a reporter reached out for comment, and it was obvious she was indeed referring to the director, that, quote, speculation can be turned to another one of the many people she's had issues working with in the past.
But here's where it gets even more intriguing. A source close to the case revealed that Blake's legal team was completely blindsided by some of the evidence presented in court. This raises the next big question: what was the damning evidence that ultimately sealed Blake's fate? The mystery deepens, leaving everyone eager for answers.
In the protective order is security measures taken by parties or third parties. So there is an argument that, there's certain security measures that celebrities take, and to disclose that could harm the people who are taking these security measures. The judge points out that, look, the Wayfarer parties have suggested that security measures are not relevant to this proceeding, but they have not raised objections to such information being kept AEO if it is disclosed. So it's kind of like the judge is thinking, well, they didn't say we couldn't, and they didn't argue against it, so let's just put attorney's eyes only on that.
I heard someone on a different show say that there's two different trials, one in the legal courts, one in the court of public opinion. And one of the things that his attorney is claiming in his complaint was that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had pressured Justin Baldoni and his team once the film was out and she was getting this negative backlash to put out a statement basically, accounting saying we behaved poorly on this set, there was misconduct, which they refused to do. And I think the thinking behind that might have been, hey, if they put out this statement taking some of the blame, the backlash against her on social media might start to lessen a little bit. They refused to do that, saying we did nothing wrong here. And then I think that's where a lot of the court of public opinion is coming out. And I also think, his complaint against her was 200 pages with tons of text messages, emails. That's fairly long. I haven't seen a federal complaint that long. So I think that's a big part of it.
Now, this is where things take a wild turn. Justin Baldoni's legal team reportedly presented an overwhelming amount of evidence, including emails, text messages, and witness testimonies. The most shocking part? The evidence suggested that Blake had not only been spreading rumors, but had also allegedly used her influence in Hollywood to sabotage Justin's projects. The revelations left the courtroom stunned and added a dramatic twist to the already explosive case.
extends her legal action, Justin's lawyer Brian Friedman has denounced Blake's claims, telling the New York Times that these accusations were a, quote, desperate attempt to fix her negative reputation, which was garnered from her own remarks and actions during the campaign for the film. Interviews and press activities that were observed publicly in real time and unedited, which allowed for the internet to generate their own views and opinions.
There's been a motion for protective order in the case, and the judge has responded, issuing that order, but with caveat.
Even more jaw-dropping is the claim that a former employee from Blake's team was the one who leaked some of this information. This anonymous source allegedly came forward with screenshots and confidential documents, exposing behind-the-scenes conversations that painted a very different picture of the actress. If true, this revelation could have major implications for Blake's future in the industry, potentially tarnishing her reputation and career.
Here's what the judge has to say. Blake Lively versus plaintiff, which is Wayfair Studios, and then we have Wayfair Studios, plaintiff versus Blake Lively. So they're kind of both suing each other, so it's all in one. Judge Lehman, United States District Judge, whereas all of the, and by the way, he's going to be able to issue like a full protective order or partial, so we're going to have to just see what this is all about. Whereas all of the parties to this action, collectively the parties and individually a party, request that this court issue a protective order pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 26C to protect the confidentiality of certain non-public and confidential material that will be exchanged pursuant to and during the course of discovery in this case. Whereas the parties acknowledge that this protective order does not confer blanket protections on all disclosures or responses to discovery, and that the protection it affords only extends to the limited information or items that are entitled under the applicable legal principles to confidential treatment. Whereas the parties further acknowledge that this protective order does not create entitlement to file confidential information under seal, and whereas in light of these acknowledgments and based on the representations of the parties that discovery in this case will involve confidential documents or information the public disclosure of which will cause harm to the producing person and or third party to whom a duty of confidentiality is owed, and to protect against injury caused by dissemination of confidential documents and information, this court finds good cause for issuance of an appropriately tailored confidentiality order governing the pretrial phase of this action.
Of course, Blake's team has denied these allegations, but the damage might already be done. Speaking of damage, let's talk about how the world is reacting to this shocking verdict. As one pop culture columnist noted, Blake's allegations present a different picture about who is the villain and victim in real life, one that Baldoni hopes to muddy with his own legal battle. The court of public opinion remains divided, with fans and critics alike weighing in on the drama.